What's up, guys? We're doing some more work today, and showing what I'm doing. I got some adjustments to do. I actually adjusted the valves just to see if they were holding, and they, minor stuff. So they were, because I haven't really driven it a lot, so it was fine. But I'll show you what I'm doing. I've never had the speedometer cable working, so I figured I'd tackle that this weekend. I have a little snake going in here. The speedometer cable is mechanical, like a lot of these things, and it goes into the back of the housing there, the instrument cluster, and it goes through this little hole. And I, have this little snake here just to help. I'm not sure if that will help me or hurt me. And then this is different than the way the Volkswagens usually do. They usually do it off the front tire, but this one's actually connected to the transmission. So I have it coming through into the tunnel there. I can't find anything that the cable slides into the tunnel, so I hope I'm not missing something, and the manual I have doesn't really go into it. So I'm just going to kind of send it and see what it looks like. I'm also going to adjust this free play here for the clutch. And it does tell me about this in the manual, and this is supposed to be about 1 inch until resistance. It's just a little bit beyond that, and so I'm just going to tighten up the cable. The clutch cable is easy to adjust, but one thing at a time. So I have all the carpets pulled, and I'll actually show you guys. This car isn't really in the best shape, but it's better than some. This is actually spray paint, just to keep it from rusting. I think this is a repair patch. I can't really tell. Certainly doesn't look stock, so someone repaired this. There's some holes here and there, and I'll go underneath the car and show you. But either way, so we're going to start our way underneath the car. I bought a bunch of rubber. This is an old rubber boot that's all perished. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to have to decouple this to get that in there. And this is where the the speedometer cable comes in from underneath the car. And there's a transmission. And show you what that looks like when you get underneath the car. Oh, here's the transmission here. Scoot close. So here we are underneath the car. Not a lot of room. I don't have it jacked up very high, but let me see if I can see this. So this right here is the accelerator cable, the throttle cable, and its rubber's not so bad. So that one I might leave. This is the boot for the linkage, and you can see it's dripping. That one I'll replace. And then this is the speedometer cable where it comes out. That's the end of the guide. And if I can show you this, I do not know if you'll be able to see this. Get around here. That, I believe, is the old cable. Let me see if this thing will focus. And it's gonna have a problem with, there we go, it's a little better. But that is connected to the transmission. There's a little gear in there, and it's not leaking. So this little, there you go, you can see that. It's not leaking. I mean, it's a little greasy, so I don't think I'm gonna have to take this out and rebuild it. I'm just gonna unscrew that and feed the new cable in and see if that will give me a speedometer reading. So yeah, let's do that. So my obsession with this got a little out of hand. I took the seat out, and this thing is so covered in years of just grime and glue from all this carpet stuff. I was messing with it and I was just getting so frustrated, so dirty. So I took the e-brake off, and it's actually, I just threw I cleaned it and I threw a can of primer on there just to make it feel a little better, because it was just really getting under my skin. And another thing was that this electrical light in here is actually a light for the e-brake. I think it pops up around here or there, somewhere on this screen, and on this gauge, and it never worked. So I wanted to. This only light doesn't work on the gauge, so I wanted to check it. The switch is in there, but this doesn't make contact, so I have to do some research to see why that switch, even if the switch is installed correctly, it doesn't make contact with the arm of the handbrake. But anyway, that right there, that little the little blue tape, that is the cable. The spool didn't work; it was getting caught up. So I figured, so here we are. So let me mess with that again. I'll get this thing in here. I did get the new rubber boot on here, which is good. That looks really a lot better. So once everything's back together, hopefully look a lot better. But right now it's just kind of controlled chaos here. But yeah, I'll get back to work. Okay, so they're all on there, and sorry, it's so tight in here. I wasn't able to film any of this, but at least you can see, how rubber's there. This is the speedometer cable, the end. I don't know if this is supposed to go over this nut, but it's just so tight, and it's sealed anyway, so it'll be fine. That's the transmission, the main transmission there, shifter, and then that's the accelerator boot. And they all kind of just pressure fit, or they fit around these lips, and gosh, they're really hard to get. So luckily this was kind of lubed up, and I had to push these on. I don't think the video is really capturing how tight this space is to get your fingers around, but these were a pain, but they're in there now. They're good. They're going to protect that, and I'm happy with it. So one job done. Okay, that was a real pain. I'm going to show you what I did. So let's see if it'll focus. This is the accelerator cable, but that is the clutch cable, and that is a clevis pin. You take that pin off and you can change the length of this cable. This cable must be pretty old, because it's almost all the way to its shortest length, so it's probably stretched a little bit. But either way, there's a little pre-tension in here, and I've measured it now. That's about 1 inch before you get to some resistance. So it's definitely tighter than it was before. So we'll leave it like that, and I'll drive it and see how it feels. But the way to do this is to definitely get the accelerator rod. It's not even a cable. Get this cable out of the way. Pop that pin, and then also loosen it on the transmission side. You got to do that, because once you pop that pin, if it's tied into the transmission, you can't pull it back to slot into the pedal, and so you're fighting, and it's tight in here, and it was just a pain in the butt. So if you're doing this, just loosen the whole cable, lengthen it as long as you can to get everything right, and then tighten it once it's back in position. I'm sure that's kind of seems obvious, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you can get away with it. You can't get away with it. Don't do that. Just bite the bullet and do that. So either way, I'm not sure if I showed you that, but there's the the speedometer cable coming up and into the back of the instrument cluster. And here's the seat on the ground. Kind of cool. I've never seen this before. It's kind of vented. This looks original. Pretty neat. And I'm going to put that back in. I'm going to test. This is the ground pin I think I mentioned for the emergency brake light. Test if that works. Still got to connect this up and cinch it all tight with the new rubber. But it's getting close, and I'll show you. Sun's coming down. But here's the trusty Beetle. And here's the actual handbrake. Maybe you saw in some previous videos, but the handbrake itself was this was covered in electrical tape. Maybe I can get this to focus. There we go. This was covered in electrical tape, and I did spray paint it. I cleaned it up just to get all this tape and glue off it. It's drying still. I'm sure that paint is very fresh, but at least it's, you know, it looks okay. I took all that tape off. The reason the tape was on there is because that's cracked. Sorry, the camera just refuses to focus right now. So either way, that's hard to see. There you go. It's cracked there. This handle isn't that expensive, but you know, it still works. So not a problem. And the way this works, actually, the switch itself, is when there's some copper. Let's see if I can show you. There's a copper plate on the back of this rod, so the handbrake's like that. And when you put your handbrake up, that copper plate hits a switch that's nestled right there. But there was like a half inch, not a half inch, maybe 5 millimeters or something like that, distance between the switch, which goes right there in that slot, and those copper pads. So I don't know how it's supposed to ground out, if the switch is broken or it's the wrong switch, or there's supposed to be more copper there than there is, or I'll have to do some research. But at least this will look okay, you know, when it's fully cured or whatever. This is just, you know, semi-gloss black, but it'll go back in here just like that. It looks a little better. You know, put the carpet back, but at least that will look okay. I'll get that gray off to some acetone probably, but either way, get this fixed and go for a spin and see if that. Here I am in the car with no seat. Works. I turned it on just to it's cold, so it's idling a little low on 2 cylinders. But you'll see, I in my hand, I'll ground out the switch. That's the e-brake light. So that e-brake switch wiring works, the light bulb works, but something with the you know, the mechanics of the switch is not making contact. So I'll find out what that is. I'm gonna put the seat back in and see if I can go for a drive. See, and here it is. I just assembled it so I could show you. It rides in that slot with a little set screw that I imagine adjusts the height, or I guess the angle at which this is supposed to hit this grounding switch. But I mean, it's nowhere near the switch. It's nowhere near that copper contact. So is this the right switch? I guess I could, you know, pad that somehow to get that to enter, but I mean, it's nowhere near there. I mean, that's, you know, like I said, that's a couple millimeters at least, and I don't see how that's supposed to contact the switch at all. It's really not anywhere near it. So you know, it just occurred to me that looks broken. So I took the switch out to compare with what looks, you know, what's online, and this looks like the right switch. This one's broken a little too. I mean, it's supposed to be some plastic here to cover it, but I was wondering how, you know, how does it touch the switch and not cause a lot of friction? I think this copper plate, which is riveted, is a spring, or, you know, it's a reed that comes out, copper reed, and that certainly looks broken. And so I bet that there's a little leaf spring or whatever you want to call that, and it brushes up against this. And I bet if I look in there, there might be one, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to probably, drill those copper rivets out, which is probably easy, and make my own little plate there that will brush up against this, and then I'll get my brake light switch back. So that's kind of fun. I'm not sure if I'll do that right now, but we'll see. Well, I found it. It was lying right there. And yeah, you can see broke off right there from the handbrake. It's probably like that. And then as this thing came down, it rubbed up against the switch, and probably something like this. Like that. Or like that. Probably like this. But either way, I couldn't find a picture of the handbrake anywhere online. I'm sure it exists in some of the forums, I just missed it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to recreate this somehow. I don't want to buy a new handbrake if I can just drill out some rivets and rivet in a new. I even use pop rivets. I mean, I don't know how you would easily do it. This is fixable with some epoxy. Just put some epoxy on the top so that this piece doesn't fall off. I can buy some copper, bend it into shape, see how it works. Probably do that in a separate video, because I'll have to take the handbrake out again, and that won't be fun. So I'm gonna put everything back, and maybe I'll have a special video just fixing this light, because it would be really nice to have all my gauges working again. Hey, okay, so I'm in the car, and there we go. We got a working speedometer. The lights aren't very bright. I actually I have some replacements that probably brighten it up a little bit. It's not getting covered right, but here I'm going 35. Everything is working as it should, but now it's just making sure it's a little more legible. But other than that, I'm really happy with it, and thanks for sticking around. And yeah, I'm gonna have some fun and see how fast I can get this baby up to. And now actually that I have a speedometer, I can see what my 0 to 60 is or anything like that.